Hey guys, it's Miss Sherlyn, and this week is story time for December the 16th. So, today's December the 16th. And to get us started for our story time today, we have a whole bunch of cool fun stories. Our craft bag is super neat, which I may show you at the end of the video, but I'll be wearing something different. Don't think anything of it. So, what we're going to start with is my first Little House books. It's super cute. It's Little House on the Prairie, Laura Ingalls Wilder. It's Christmas in the Big Woods. And it's published by HarperCollins Publishers. And the illustrations for the My Little First House books are inspired by the work of Garth Williams, with his permission, which we gratefully acknowledge. Once upon a time, a little girl named Laura lived in the big woods of Wisconsin in a little house made of logs. Laura lived in a little house with her pa, her ma, her big sister Mary, her little sister Carrie, and her good old bulldog Jack. Christmas was coming and the little house was covered with snow. When Pa came in from shoveling, he caught Laura up in a big bear hug against his cold winter coat. His mustache was covered with melting snowflakes. Ma was busy all day long cooking good things for Christmas. She baked bread and apple pies and filled a big jar with cookies. Laura and Mary got to lick the spoon. Pa and Ma showed Laura and Mary how to make molasses candy by pouring hot sugar and molasses syrup into pans of snow. We're going to have to try this, Heather.
Yes.
That sounds really good. The syrup hardened at once and turned into candy. Laura and Mary could eat one piece each, but the rest was saved for Christmas Day. The day before Christmas, Aunt Eliza, Uncle Peter, and cousins Peter, Alice, and Ella came to visit. Laura and Mary heard sleigh bells ringing, and then a big bobsled came out of the woods. Aunt Eliza, Uncle Peter, and the cousins were inside covered up with blankets. When everyone came inside, the little house was filled to the seams. Jack ran around in circles, barking happy. Now there were lots of children to play with. Laura and Mary and the cousins put on their warm coats and mittens and scarves and went outside to make pictures in the soft, deep snow. They played so hard that when night came, they were too excited to sleep. But they knew they must, or Santa Claus would not come. So they hung their stockings by the fireplace, put on their red flannel nightgowns, and went to bed. In the morning, they all woke up almost at the same moment and ran to see what was in their stockings. In every stocking was a pair of bright red mittens and a stick of red and white striped peppermint candy. They were so happy that they could hardly speak. But Laura was the happiest of all. In her stocking was a beautiful rag doll with black button eyes and a pink and blue calico dress. Laura named her doll Charlotte, and she let all the other children hold her. For breakfast on Christmas, Mom made each child a pancake man. All the children held their plates next to the stove and watched while Mom made the pancake men one by one out of pancake batter. Peter ate his up right away, but the girls ate theirs slowly to make them last. It was too cold to go outside, so the children played quietly inside. They ate their candy, admired their mittens, and looked at the pictures in Pa's big green book until it was time for the cousins to go home. Laura held Charlotte in her arms the whole time. At last, Aunt Eliza, Uncle Peter, and the cousins bundled up in their coats and blankets and got into the bobsled. "Goodbye," they called, and off they went into the woods. In a little while, the happy sound of sleigh bells was gone, and Christmas was over. But what a happy Christmas it had been. And there is Charlotte, the peppermint stick, and the mittens that they got for Christmas. And that is the end of the book. It is a super cute book. Our next story that we have is Dasher and it is written by Matt Tavares. And it is published by Candlewick Press. Life was not easy for the reindeer family of J.P. Finnegan's Traveling Circus in Mandrake. They spent long days crammed together under the hot sun as an endless stream of curious people jostled to catch a glimpse of them. Even at night, there was a little rest. Some nights, to pass the time, Mama would tell stories. It was a magical place, she would say. The air was crisp and cold, and the ground was always covered with a cool blanket of white snow. Your father and I were free to roam under the glow of the North Star. Dasher, the youngest reindeer, loved Mama's stories. "Is that the North Star, Mama?" she asked. "The very same," Mama said. "We always knew when we were home when it was directly overhead." "I wish we could go there," said Dasher. Mama sighed. "I do too," she said, "but Mr. Finnegan is not kind to animals who try to escape." Day after day, under the watchful eye of Mr. Finnegan, the reindeer family delighted crowds wherever they went. Dasher liked being with her family, and she loved meeting so many children who were always kind to her. Sometimes they even fed her carrots, which were her very, very favorite food. But at night, while the others were sleeping, she would lie awake, gazing at the bright star on the horizon, wishing for crisp, cool air and blankets of white snow. One night, mighty winds shook the circus tents and rattled the animals' cages. Dasher was wide awake, wishing on the North Star, when she was startled by a loud creak. The gate to their pen had swung open. Dasher could hear rustling from inside Mr. Finnegan's trailer. She glanced up at the North Star. She looked back at her sleeping family. She knew that this might be her only chance. Her heart pounded. She took a deep breath, and then she ran as fast as she could. On she went for hours with the North Star as her guide. But no matter how far she traveled, it was still way off on the horizon. Dasher began to wonder if she would ever make it there. She thought about turning back, but she couldn't remember the way. She didn't know what to do, so she looked up at the North Star and made a wish. Just then, Dasher heard something in the distance, a soft jingling coming from the woods. There, in a clearing, Dasher saw a man and a horse. "I'm sorry, Santa," said the horse. "The sleigh is just so heavy this year." The man smiled. "Now don't you worry, Silver Bell," he said. "We'll take all the breaks you need." "But the children," said the horse. "They'll be heartbroken if we can't deliver all these toys by Christmas morning." "Children?" thought Dasher. She stepped forward. "Maybe I can help," she said. "Hello there," said the man. Dasher walked closer. The man smiled. "Have you ever pulled a sleigh?" he asked. Dasher shook her head. "I've never even seen a sleigh," she said, "but I pull a wagon just about every night." "Well," said the man, "how would you like to make a whole bunch of children really happy on Christmas morning?" "I would like that very much," said Dasher. Santa thanked Dasher and attached her harness. It was soft against her fur, and its jingling bells made the most beautiful sound that she'd ever heard. Santa climbed onto his sleigh. Dasher pulled with all her might. Then suddenly, the load felt lighter. Dasher looked down. They were flying. All night, Dasher and Silverbell pulled Santa's sleigh through the air as Santa glided it from rooftop to rooftop, delivering toys to children everywhere. Dasher had never experienced such a thrill, and she ate so many carrots, she felt like she was going to burst. She was having so much fun, she forgot all about the North Star. As the first light of dawn appeared on the horizon, they landed. The air was crisp and cold. The ground was covered with a cool blanket of white snow. Dasher searched for the North Star on the horizon, but she couldn't find it anywhere. Santa smiled. "Dasher," he said, "look up." And there it was directly overhead. "Is that the North Star?" she asked. Santa's eyes twinkled. "Merry Christmas," he said, "and welcome home." The North Pole was just as wonderful as Mama's stories. Dasher roamed whenever she pleased, and Santa gave her all the carrots she wanted, but something was missing. "I love it here," she told Santa, "but I miss my family. I wish we could be together." Santa smiled. "That's your best wish yet, Dasher," he said. "Let's go find them." Late that night, Dasher guided Santa's sleigh all the way to J.P. Finnegan's Traveling Circus and Manger Egg. "Mama, Papa," Dasher whispered. "Everyone wake up." Mama lifted her head. "Dasher," she said, "is that really you?" "It's me, Mama," said Dasher. She told her family all about Santa and Silver Bell and how the North Pole was just as amazing as Mama's stories. "But I missed you," she said. "You were all I had wished for." Dasher led her family to Santa's sleigh, and Santa attached their harness. "You're not going to believe this part," she said. When Christmas Eve arrived, Silver Bell watched as Santa prepared his team. "Are you sure you don't want to come?" asked Dasher. "I'm sure," said Silver Bell. "I know the 8 of you will do a fine job." Late that night, as Santa and his new team of reindeer soared around the world, he called them by name for the very first time. "Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen." On Christmas morning, after all the toys had been delivered, they flew back to the North Pole, where they still live happily today. There, the air is crisp and cold. The ground is always covered with a cool blanket of white snow. And Dasher has everything that she ever wished for. The end. I had never heard that story before. I don't think I ever had either. It was a really good story. All right, next thing we're going to do, we love doing these. Can you twinkle like a star? Can you go twink, 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 or blink, blink, blink? Can you roll like an ornament? Roll like an ornament? Good job. Can you chuckle like Santa Claus? Give me your best laugh. Ho, 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 like Santa. Ho, ho, ho. Good job. Can you spread your branches like a Christmas tree? Spread them real big. Good job. Can you run if you're standing up like a gingerbread man? Run! Good job. Run! Can you twirl? I want you to twirl. Can you twirl like a snowflake, like you're falling down from the sky? Good job. Can you sneak around like an elf? Can you go? Good job. Can you twist like a candy cane? So we're going to twist like a candy cane. Good job. Can you march like a nutcracker? March like a nutcracker. Good job. And melt like a snowman. Just melt down like a snowman. Good job. Can you prance around like a reindeer? Prance around like a reindeer. Good job. And that is all of those. Gingerbread Baby by Jan Brett. I always like this story. I like the illustrations. She always does such a good job. It is published by G.P. Putnam and Sons. It was cold outside, but it was warm inside. A fine day for gingerbread, Maddie thought. Maddie's mother put the big blue bowl on the table and lit the stove. Maddie took down a worn-looking cookbook with old-fashioned writing on the cover. He opened it up to the page that said, "Gingerbread Boy." They measured and mixed. Maddie rolled the dough into the shape of a gingerbread boy, and they popped him in the oven. Bake a full 8 minutes, no more, no less. Do not peek, the recipe read. Maddie listened to the clock. Tick, tock, tick. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5. Maddie couldn't wait any longer. He opened the oven door to take a peek. Instead of a gingerbread boy, out jumped a gingerbread baby. He pranced around the big blue bowl. I am the gingerbread baby, fresh from the pan. If you want me, catch me if you can. Maddie's mother reached for the gingerbread baby to put him back in the oven when he ran all around the kitchen. The door opened and in came Maddie's father. What's that delicious smell, he asked, as the gingerbread baby tumbled through his legs and outside into the yard. He ran by the tabby cat. She twitched her tail and sprang at him. They rumbled and tumbled, but the gingerbread baby came out on top. He ran toward the garden wall. The dog caught a whiff of tasty ginger and sniffed along behind him. But the gingerbread baby was halfway up when the dog caught up. He barked and barked as the gingerbread baby climbed over the wall. Maddie was still inside. He heard his mother and father yelling. He heard a cat meowing and a dog barking, and he heard the gingerbread baby shouting, "Catch me if you can!" Maddie opened up the old, worn-looking cookbook for the second time. Meanwhile, the gingerbread baby wheeled on down to the path and into the barn. The goats looked up as he somersaulted across their backs. The last one tried to catch him, but the gingerbread baby was way too fast. Martha and Madeline were standing by the well when the gingerbread baby stopped to take a drink. They looked at each other and winked. Martha started to talk to him while Madeline tiptoed up behind him with a bucket, but they couldn't fool that gingerbread baby. He took a braid from Martha and a braid from Madeline and tied them in a knot and ran down the road. Back in the house, Maddie stirred, mixed, and rolled the dough. He shaped it, put it in a pan, and into the oven. Tick-tock, tick, 8 long minutes, and this time he didn't peek. I will catch him if I can, Maddie said to himself. As he was bouncing along, the gingerbread baby saw a farm wagon just ahead. He jumped in and settled down for the ride next to a mama pig. The smell of gingerbread was too much for her. She tossed him high into the air, closed her eyes, and opened her mouth. But the gingerbread baby twisted in the air and came down hard on her porky snout. I am the gingerbread baby, too quick for the mother and the father, too fast for the cat, the dog, the goats, and too clever for Martha and Madeline, too smart for the mama pig, who's left? Catch me if you can. Feeling smug, the gingerbread baby strolled along by himself until he came to a bridge that crossed over into the village. Just as he got to the middle, he heard running feet behind him and saw a crowd of villagers ahead of him. The gingerbread baby was trapped. He jumped up onto the railing, backflipped through the air, and landed on a chunk of ice floating down the river. The ice bobbed along with the gingerbread baby, dancing on the top and singing in a loud voice, "Look at me, and what do you see? The best gingerbread baby ever!" Until his feet got cold and he jumped ashore. Who was that watching from the trees? It was the fox. He crept up behind the gingerbread baby, ready to eat him up. But the fox couldn't help himself, and he licked his chops. Smack, smack. The gingerbread baby heard him and ran as fast as he could. Just when the fox was catching up, the gingerbread baby saw the milk and cheese man with his can of milk. The perfect hiding place, he thought. He lifted the lid and lowered himself inside. He was so pleased that he sang at the top of his gingerbread voice, "Ha ha, hee hee, you'll never find me. I'm the gingerbread baby, catch me if you can." The milk and cheese man heard the gingerbread baby's voice. "Who is meddling with my milk?" he shouted and lifted the lid. But the gingerbread baby was ready. He jumped up and tweaked his nose. Now the milk and cheese man, the fox, the villagers, the mama pig, Martha and Madeline, the bleating goats, the barking dog, the meowing cat, and the father and the mother were all after the gingerbread baby and getting closer, and he knew it. The brash baby was not as peppy and proud as he had been. He sniffed a familiar smell and followed his nose into the woods. He couldn't believe what he saw. There, in the middle of a clearing, was a gingerbread house frosted with sugar, covered with candy, and doors with peppermint handles wide open. The gingerbread baby clapped his hands with glee and ran inside. And a tick-tock-tick! Everyone arrived in the clearing, but all they found were a few bits of frosting, a peppermint candy, and some crumbs. The father exclaimed, "The gingerbread baby has finally met his match." "I wonder who it was," said the mother. "Let's go home and tell Maddie." "Hello, Maddie," his father said when they got home. "He never did catch that gingerbread baby. All we found were some crumbs in the snow." "I see you've been busy," his mother said, looking at the gingerbread house Maddie was holding. "Too bad we never caught that gingerbread baby." "Yeah, too bad," said Maddie. Only Maddie knew and could hear the teeny voice from inside the gingerbread house. "I'm a little gingerbread baby, lucky as can be to be living in this little house that Maddie has made for me." The end. I hope you like that story. It's such a cute little story about a little gingerbread man. And it's cute. And this week you'll also get a gingerbread house and a gingerbread man in your bag, so be sure to decorate it.
No real gingerbread was harmed in the making of this craft.
Yeah, no real gingerbread was harmed. It's all paper, we promise. Okay, so our next thing that we're going to do, we did this earlier last week. We're going to do it again because it's just super fun. Heather's going to help me. So let me get my colors out. We're going to talk about the colors of Rudolph's nose. And Rudolph, what color nose does Rudolph usually have? Yeah, he usually has red. So we're going to see if we can't find the right color. So, let me organize my colors here. I've got so many of them. Brown, black, red. Okay, so Rudolph, what will you do? You can't guide Santa because your nose is, what color is that? Blue, good job. Is that Rudolph's real nose? No. Rudolph, you're such a silly fellow. Who will know it's you if your nose is, what color is that? Yellow, good job. But that's not Rudolph's, is it? No. Rudolph, your way cannot be seen through the wintry weather if your nose is, what color is that? Green. Is that Rudolph's nose? No. Rudolph, Santa gave a wink. But what will Santa think if your nose is, what color is that? Pink. Is that Rudolph's real nose? No. Rudolph, it's time to fly at night, but you're quite a sight because your nose is, what color is Rudolph's nose? White, like snow. Is that Rudolph's nose? No. We'll try again. Rudolph, it's time to go to town, but Santa's wearing a frown because your nose is, what color is his nose now? Brown. Is that the right color? No. Rudolph, Santa has a sack, but you're not ready because your nose is, what color is Rudolph's nose? Black. That's not Rudolph, is it? That might be another reindeer, but that ain't Rudolph. Rudolph, the children are in bed, and I know you're ready because your nose is, what color is his nose? Red. Is that Rudolph's nose? Yes, it's Rudolph's nose. Good job. Thank you so much for helping me find his right colored nose. And our next story that we're going to read is super cute. Then we have one more story after that, and then we'll go over our craft bag soon. So our next story is Merry Christmas, Big Hungry Bear by Dawn and Audrey Wood, and the pictures are illustrated by Dawn Wood. And it's published by the Blue Sky Press and in print of Scholastic Incorporated. Hello, little mouse. I see you're ready for Christmas. My goodness, what a lot of presents. Are they all for you? But, little mouse, what about the big hungry bear in the cold, dark cave at the top of the hill? Oh, how that bear loves Christmas presents. Red ones, green ones, little ones, big ones. That bear would do anything to get some presents. never does. Not even from Santa Claus. Boo-hoo-hoo. Every Christmas he sits alone in his cold, dark cave, and plop, 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 tears fall from his big, hungry eyes. Little mouse, what are you doing? What's little mouse doing? Oh, I see. What a brave little mouse you are. No one else in the whole wide world would go to that cold, dark cave of the big, hungry bear. Especially on Christmas Eve. Shh, little mouse, someone big is fast asleep. Quick, little mouse, someone big is waking up. Hide, little mouse, someone big is peeking. Come out, little mouse. I see something big. For you, Merry Christmas. From the big, hungry bear. The end. That was nice of the both of them, wasn't it? That's super good. Okay, so for our craft bags on the 16th of December, we have Santa, and I'm going to show you what to do with Santa. So we have this little saying in front of Santa, and it says, Santa's beard is very bare. On his chin there is no hair, so there's no hair. And so each day you're going to add a puff of white. So you have 2 little cotton balls in your bag, maybe 3. And you can tear these apart because it will last, I promise. Because you can just tear it apart like that. And you can just keep going. But you're going to add 1 on each day. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up until today. So go all the way to 16. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days left. Keep going. And then his beard, by the night that it's covered completely on the 24th, it says when it's full, he will come that night. So Christmas Eve night, he will come and leave out presents. And for our next thing that we have a Christmas word search. It's a cute little Christmas word search you can do. We have build an elf, so you're going to put the elf together. Then we have 25 ways kids can be kind. So it's just something simple you can do to your neighbors or your family. Like take your dog for a walk, help them load the groceries, share your toys with your siblings, write a card to your grandparents, help make dinner. And then we have a little coloring sheet. You have to color by the number, and it shows you the literal color right next to it. So like 1 is yellow, so you have to find 1 and color it yellow. Then we have a cute little snowman that you can color. There's a cute little snowman. Then we have our next craft, and it's a reindeer. You can put this up on the fridge. He looks like a sad little reindeer, but I promise he's probably just sad because it's cold out. So you can color and put them on your fridge or give it to your family member, send it to your grandparents in a card. And then this is our next craft we have that went with the Santa craft. It's 2 trees. So what you're going to do, there's a slit in this tree, and there is a slit in the green tree. You're going to take the red, slide it down into the green, like so. And there's a paper clip to help hold it up. So you can help hold it at the bottom. That way whenever you set it on a table, it will stay up. I'm not on a table, so it's not staying up. Then you have this cute little bag of ornaments and tinsel. You're going to put the ornaments around the tree, and the tinsel you will put up here at the very top with a piece of tape. Or you can just slide it down into it, and it will just be very decorative. And then you have a belt and some string to make yourself a polar bear necklace. So it's kind of like, I know some of you have seen Polar Bear Express, you may be watching it with your family. You can hear the jingle. Me and Heather can't hear the jingle, but you can hear the jingle. take the little piece of string and string it through, and then you can wear it around your neck. And I don't know if your parents can hear it or not. They may not be able to. Kind of like the Polar Express, you just can't hear it once you reach a certain age. We can't hear it. So our next thing that you're going to do is that's all of it. Just have fun at home and make sure that you are enjoying our crafts, and you should be getting a free book this week. It is Christmas related. And next week you will get one as well. And then if you wrote in to Santa Claus, your letters should be ready, so make sure you call the library and we will get those to you because Santa sent them back. But tell us your name whenever you call the library to get your Santa letter, and it will have a special letter in there from Santa for you, and then you'll get your cool little craft bag from us and your book. Just make sure you tell us your name. But that is all we have for this week. So thanks, guys.